Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Coming up this week, we're going to talk about the recent Moonlight Magic event at the Magic Kingdom on this week's episode of the DVC Show. The DVC Show is brought to you by DVCstore.com. You'll save thousands of dollars on your next DVC contract when you let the experts at the DVC Store help welcome you home. Visit them at www.dvcstore.com or call 1-800-550-6493. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show, coming to you from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends Jackie Gailey.
Hi, everybody.
From the DVC Store, Jamie Carr.
Hey, everybody.
Via Skype, Mr. Pete Scheidley.
How's it going?
And back on the controls, associate producer Corey Fiascanaro.
Welcome home.
Welcome to the show, folks. Hope you're off. Your week is off to a good start. I do have to issue a correction on something that we had said in a previous show. I had said that DVC, when you did the tour, and that their people weren't being upfront about the restrictions at Riviera, and apparently that is no longer the case. We are hearing from people that they are now specifically mentioning these restrictions and actually having you sign a paper acknowledging that you know about them. So I want to issue a retraction. I know at one point they were not doing that, so the information we gave was accurate. It was just out of date. But now they are going out of their way to make sure that people are told about the restrictions and that they're having to sign a paper to acknowledge that. So I just wanted to make sure we got that out. Okay, so this week we are going to talk about Moonlight Magic. Fiasco and I, along with Sean, who's not here today, and DVC member who got us in, Nick Chappell. We had dinner at the Wave before time, which is always great. Yep. Always. Any opportunity to get the bacon and eggs, I'm in. And then we headed over. We had a nice leisurely dinner. Then we headed over to the Magic Kingdom. Now, the baseline for me on these events was the first one I did last year at Epcot.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And I will cut to the chase. This did not live up to that. It was better than the Animal Kingdom one that I did last August. That one I didn't enjoy at all. But then again, Animal Kingdom's not my favorite park. So we got in there around 7, which was when it started.
Yep.
Well, technically it didn't start till 9. It went from 9 to midnight.
You can start checking in at 6. They start migrating all the non-Moonlight Magic people out around 7, and the event itself begins at 8.
No, it was 9 to midnight.
Oh, was it 9? Okay.
9 to midnight.
Gotcha.
So we got in there around 7, and obviously the park was full with day guests. But there were still, even at 9 o'clock, a ton of day guests still in the park. So, whereas when we did the Epcot one, they'd gotten everybody. I don't know. I don't remember how they did it with Epcot, but we weren't dealing with that at Epcot. They give you a wristband so that once 9 o'clock hits, if you don't have the wristband, you don't get on anything. But, we were looking at 45, 50-minute waits for Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Peter Pan. Others were a walk-on. Pirates was a walk-on. Space Mountain looked like it was only about 10, 15 minutes.
Buzz Lightyear was a walk-on.
Buzz Lightyear was a walk-on. People Mover, obviously. Well, People Mover's always a walk-on, but it felt crowded.
Yeah.
It felt crowded. It felt like there were more people. Once it got to about 10:30, it was better. The fireworks show, however, was epic.
Yeah, it really was.
They do special fireworks shows just for these Moonlight Magics.
You're so cool.
And this one was Absolutely. It was about 10 minutes long, I believe. And I think
on
we
the
have
dot.
we have a video up, don't
Yeah,
we?
link in the description below. We'll have a link for it.
And we can throw some B-roll in here while we're in post.
Cool.
So you can see it. But it was phenomenal. Phenomenal fireworks show.
Yeah, I mean, comparison to Epcot, where like Pete used the expression you could shoot a cannonball down the World Showcase, not hit anybody. It was that dead at Epcot. I think maybe because Magic Kingdom has more attractions that like they have the rule that like if you're in line when the park is about to close, that you can continue to wait in line for that attraction. And Magic Kingdom just has so many more long wait time attractions that somebody who wasn't attending the party could have got in line for right at the end and been okay to continue waiting
Now,
for.
and we just have to be clear here. You don't pay for this party. You have to be a direct member. Resale members unless you bought prior to 2016.
Correct.
If you bought prior to 2016 or you're a direct member, you can do these. After that, you can't. And some resale members complain about that, but this is one area where I say, shut up.
Yeah.
Because they cannot pay for these parties out of dues. They pay for these parties out of the money they make from direct sales. So, yeah, you know what? Okay.
And it's expensive. I mean, it's the whole park.
It's the whole park.
It's food. It's all those cast members.
Right. They're giving out free food,
Yeah.
Yep.
And I also need to mention, like, even though I wouldn't put this up against Epcot's Moonlight Magic for the reasons we just mentioned, I would still take this After Hours party over Villains After Hours. I would take this party even over the Halloween party, where those parties, they're going to sell tickets till the park basically feels like it's max capacity. It's just you're there after hours. Whereas this, it is still limited. It feels like a not crowded day at Disney, which is very rare nowadays.
Can you give examples
So-
on the food? Like what kind of food?
Well, go ahead. Hold on, Pete. Let me just, you were trying to chime in.
Oh, I was just going to say, I did the Magic Kingdom Moonlight Magic in 2017, which was the first year they started doing them. And I remember that, like, again, when it first started, the crowds were pretty high, but it cleared out pretty quick. Like, within the first 45 minutes, the park didn't feel like a normal crowd, or as Corey just said, did not feel like the Halloween party, which to me always, whenever I go, it always seems like the Halloween party is worse than during the day.
Yeah.
But in terms of like some of the wait times, even back then, we saw the same thing. We actually got on the mine train right as the event ended, because all night it was 45-minute wait. And we got on right as the event ended, or was supposed to end at midnight, and it was still 45-minute wait, and we waited 45 minutes at midnight. So I think just certain rides, because of their popularity, people are still congregating to them to try to get on them on shorter waits than they do during the day. But as far as my experience, the park itself wasn't very crowded. Did they still have special character meets during the?
Yeah, there were some
event?
unusual characters that we saw. Like in Tomorrowland, there was this one guy from Atlantis.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who he was until Sean said, "Oh, that's so and so from Atlantis."
I love that he knows that.
Yeah, me too.
I
Because I'm
love
like,
that.
oh.
I'm actually going to take credit for this one. I was the one who knew who the character was.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Okay. I love that you know that too. I think that's really fun.
Well,
'cause
Sean knew as well. I know that Sean knew it as well. But who else? What other characters did we see? I know they had a ton of them. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, we weren't like really going after the characters too hard. We were mostly focused on the rides. That was the rarest character I think we saw, was the main character from Atlantis. But
Milo.
Yeah, Milo. But one thing that we definitely did notice, me and Nick, we noticed, well, at Epcot, when you got the free ice cream, they had carts around the entire World Showcase. I think there was about 5 different carts.
Yeah.
At Magic Kingdom, they only had one cart, and it was all the way in the back by Dumbo, like at the very back of the park, almost like they didn't even want you to go get the ice cream. But it was like, the way they had it set up was a maze. So it was around the big top little circus where all the water stuff is that kids can run through. And on one way was the way that you would have to go in, and the other way was the exit, but it wasn't really clear. So like you had people walking up through the exit and then getting turned around, and it was like this big cluster to get the ice cream bars. But it is still a free Mickey ice cream bar, so you can't really complain too much about it. But yeah, I kind of missed the way they had it in Epcot, where they just had carts everywhere. But
How do they do the food? Did they give out? I thought I heard they gave out vouchers.
Yeah, Jamie just asked that question. I wanted to make sure we got back to that. They'll give you, along with the program for the night, the map for the night, they give you a card that tells you what's available. So you basically got a quick service meal. The line, I really wanted to go into Casey's for a hot dog, but the line was ridiculous. We ended up over at Cosmic Rays, and I took a chance. What was it again?
we got the plant-based Sloppy Joe.
The
I'll put a link
plant-based
to that down below too.
Sloppy Joe, which needs a new name. These plant-based sloppy Alpo, because that's what it looked like. It looked like dog food.
Yeah.
And this, usually the plant-based options, they've really hit it out of the park with these plant-based options. As a matter of fact, when I was at the Wave that night for dinner, I ordered, of everything I could have ordered there that I love, I ordered the tikka masala, which is a plant-based option. And because it was so good the last time I had it, I ordered it just to try it last time as like an extra dish, and really, really liked it. Went back, and now I made it. That's how good. And I'm nobody's definition of a vegetarian. Look at me. I figured, let me give it a try. It was, I literally had to spit it out into a napkin. That's how bad it was.
Oh my.
And the texture of it, it looked like dog food. Yeah. It looked and it tasted like dog food, what I would imagine dog food tastes like. I don't even know that my dogs would have eaten that. I certainly wouldn't have fed it to them. And it was horrendous. Sean looked at it. I'm like, Sean, try something. He's like, I am not putting that in my mouth. I am not putting that in my mouth.
See, and I feel like this could be a topic for a whole nother show, but for the coupon, the voucher that you get, you're able to redeem that at any of the major quick services at Magic Kingdom. But I was just thinking about this the other day. Magic Kingdom's quick service, especially after you've been to Disneyland Park, it's just like
it's so bad.
Come on, like it's all. So
Columbia
bad.
Harbor House isn't bad.
It's okay.
It's pretty good.
And oh my God, Frontierland,
Pecos Bill.
Pecos Bills. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And then
Wow.
there's Pinocchio Village House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think any of it's very good. I think
No.
all of it's
Look, it's
lacking.
yeah. It is. It is.
So you get an actual, like when you were originally saying you get a map, like I'm picturing Mickey's Very Merry, you get the map
Right.
with the cookie and what the drink is. Okay, so but you do get an actual voucher that you have to
You
turn
get
in.
an actual voucher that you have to turn in for your
Okay.
meal.
Okay.
So we ended up with 4 vouchers, but we used one. I just used one on that. Nobody else got anything. It's Cosmic Rays. Nobody wants to eat that. Nobody wants.
I would
to
have
eat
waited in line for Casey's.
Probably.
Well,
Well,
I didn't go over.
I gotta say it's an improvement because in 2017 what they did is they basically just had a couple restaurants open and they were only serving certain things like hot dogs, chicken fingers, but you just kind of walked in and you got up to the counter and asked for whatever you wanted, but it was pure chaos at the time. So we waited like 40 minutes to get food at that one.
Here's the takeaway for me, though. We can talk about, whether or not we like this as much as Epcot, but I want to put this in perspective. This is a free party at a Disney theme park with free food and free ice cream. What's the operative word there? Free.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say that there aren't things that we can criticize DVC for, right? I don't have a lot of them personally, but I've only been a member for a year. Are my dues high? Yeah, my dues are high. But you know what? Freaking great resorts. I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it. But, you know, the times that I've met with some of their executives, I was really struck by almost, trying to pick the right word, the sincerity of how they feel about the members, that they are there for the members. They have to run a business, and you have to balance that sometimes. And I'm not saying, but I didn't feel like it was an act. I didn't feel like their executives were putting on, I mean, it's like, no, the members are really important, which is why when the members rise up about something, chances are strong, it'll definitely get taken seriously, but B, it might even get overturned.
Yeah, we went to one at Typhoon Lagoon a couple years ago to an event. We went to one at Magic Kingdom too, but the one particularly where we went.
But you got thrown out because of the string bikini.
Yeah, I have to save that for at home.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
You know, she's wearing a thong, and they were like, "That's
man.
inappropriate, ma'am. You have to go put on a proper bathing suit." And she wouldn't do it, and they threw her out.
Rude. That was rude of them.
That was terribly rude.
You know, someone out there is going to believe all that.
I know, right?
And I'm banking on
He's
it.
hoping.
Especially if they're listening to the podcast
Right.
rather than listening to it and seeing me, knowing that it would thong bikini would fit on my left ankle. Whatever.
So, what I always, regardless of whether it was the Animal Kingdom party last August, the Epcot party this one, I walk out of that, or I walk around that saying, you know what? They really appreciate their members.
Yeah.
Because they'd probably still sell DVC if they didn't do this.
That's right.
And this felt less like a sales pitch, because there was no sales pitch anywhere in the park. It's not like all of a sudden there's 30 DVC kiosks in this park. There's no sales pitch. It feels like a big, massive thank you.
Yeah. There were cast
especially-
members walking around when we were at Typhoon Lagoon that were thanking us, thanking everyone, going around thanking people and making sure they were having fun and thanking them for being a DVC member.
And I also have to say, the cast members working the party were fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
We came across so many engaging, happy, upbeat cast members. It felt really, really nice. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And I do want to comment, because I hope I didn't come across as too negative on it, because I thought it was a great experience. And again, you got to remember, it's free. Plus, think about what you pay for, like, some of these events, these villains events, or even the Halloween party and the Christmas party. Those things are priced now at $100 plus. And
Right.
this is something you pay nothing for. You got all the rides you get access to. You got special characters, special fireworks show, which is the one they did in 2017 was also fantastic.
Very best.
So
Yeah.
you really got to give a lot of credit to an event that is really for the members. And, you know, if there's any negative to it, you know, they limit the number of members that can attend, but that's a good thing in that if you do get in, it's a good experience.
I can tell you from personal experience that paying for a special showing of a fireworks show, an existing fireworks show, is about $30,000. I can tell you that because that's what we paid for Illuminations on the 20th anniversary of the DIS a few years ago. That's an existing show, right? They don't have to create one. They don't have to create a new one and reprogram the fireworks. That fireworks show easily cost them $50,000 or $60,000, easily.
Yep.
Not to mention, the cast members have to be paid that are working, right? These people aren't working for free because we didn't pay. The food and the ice cream and all the stuff they're giving out,
Yeah.
that costs money too.
And the bottled soda? I mean, don't they pay for they pay a lot for bottled soda?
No, I
don't they?
think we have to pay for bottled soda.
Okay.
I think only at that one location, correct me if I'm wrong, Fiasco, was where the ice cream and the water was.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's just-
Anywhere else you get it, you got to pay for it.
Okay.
But, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really is, you know, these events, it's a place where Disney's not trying to sell you something, that they're just saying thank you. How often does that happen?
Right.
Seriously, how often does that happen?
Yeah.
And I want to add something to what Pete said about limiting the number, because the biggest question that we get when people are trying to make a decision about resale versus direct and they're trying to weigh the events, to be clear, you can't just show up at this event. So can you give an idea what you have to do? It's limited. You have to be here on the day they're doing it.
Well, okay, so if you have a room on property, regardless of whether you're using points or not, you have a room on property. Well, okay, that's not entirely true. If your room is booked through, like if you're not using points, but you get your room through DVC, if not, you need to let them know ahead of time that you're on property. They need to know. You have to call member services and tell them, I booked it on my own. I didn't go through you guys, but I'm on property. Here's a reservation number. Because when these parties are announced, they also announce the date the booking is going to open. On that date, people who have reservations on site have first dibs. And you need to be on early.
Yes.
Early. Because they start assigning numbers as soon as you get to that page.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it opens up for booking, you're told, okay, you're number 2,385. I believe you can book up to yourself plus 5 guests.
I think that's how they do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's if you're staying on property. Now, if you're not, I think a week later, they open it up again for people who aren't staying on site.
Yeah.
And those go by that time,
If there's
most of them
even
are gone.
any. Yeah, they're really.
Most of them are gone already.
And here's the other caveat to that: if you log in when they first open for people on property, and you didn't make your reservation 3 days ago or however many days, that probably changes. But you can't just real quick book a reservation on property and then get into that party. You have to have already made your reservation previously to stay.
Well, once they usually announce like a month in advance.
They do, yeah.
But I've done it where I've made my reservation right after they announced it.
Yeah, after they announced it, yes. But when you know the when you get in to make your reservation for how many people you
Right.
have
Oh,
at
for the party itself.
For the party itself, yeah. If you don't have a resort reservation by then, you can't just hop into another screen, make a reservation real quick.
Oh, right,
And
yeah.
then go back because
Well, no.
they require it to. You have
Yeah.
have had to have made it like. It was, I can't remember the exact number of days. It was 3 to 5 days prior. Because I learned that the hard way. I waited and waited and waited. You know, it was way back into when they first did, announce these. And I was waiting in the queue. And I was like, yeah, we could go down there on Friday night and, come home on Saturday. And I'm putting in a reservation. And I made a reservation. And then I put it in. And so I put the reservation number in, put the number of people that we wanted to go to the party. And it said, sorry, you didn't make your reservation X number of days ago, so you can't get into the party. And I was like, oh,
So just to
sad.
clarify, because that's the big, I think people have this idea once they talk to Disney that they're throwing these huge parties and you show up with a card and you walk right in. There's a lot of moving parts. So number
Yes.
one, you need to be in town when this is going on. That's the thing. It's
Don't fly in the day before and think you're getting in.
right.
Yeah.
So you have to be here. You have to actually book it online and schedule it. So there's a lot of moving parts. I think a lot of times there's a lot of generalizations. The biggest question we get is people think there's just a party and you show up with a card and it's going to happen when you're here.
And
That's
you have
not
to-
the case.
You have to be a direct member or a member who purchased resale before 2016.
Correct.
If you are not either of those two things, if you don't have a blue card, you can't do it.
Yeah,
You can't do
it. And another thing to point out on this, they do announce all the ones for the year at the start of the year. So if you go to the member website right now, it will actually tell you when the Epcot ones are, the Animal Kingdom, the Typhoon Lagoon.
When is the Epcot
throughout
one
the
this
year?
We've got it on
Epcot
our
ones,
website
I think, are in
too.
April and May. So, anyways, in addition, people know now that the best way to get into them is to get a room. So those days get booked up.
Very
so
quickly.
You'll find if you go and to the availability website even now and you look at the Animal Kingdom one in September, you're going to see that one night is going to be booked up at a lot of resorts because people see the dates and they book them up. So it is a very popular event, and you do have to plan ahead of time. So
Yeah.
You wanted to know when the one at Epcot is?
Yeah.
May 4th.
May 4th. That was a good, yeah, it was around the same time last year.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. All right.
Yeah.
So there you have it. That's our take on Moonlight Magic at the Magic Kingdom. We hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week with another episode of the DVC Show. Have a great week, folks.